Hi everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my tutorial channel. Daniel's here, and today I'm gonna talk about how to evaluate a loan using sink and fund methods. Last video, I showed you how to evaluate a loan using amortization method. So what is the difference between amortization method and SF method? Let's consider this example. Consider a loan of $1,000 is paid within 10 years with annual payments. By amortization method, the annual payment is 1,000 divided by 18 into I. By SF method, the annual payment consists of two portions. 1,000 I is the interest paid to the lender annually, and 1,000 over S10 into I is the SF deposit made to the made annually. It's easy to prove that 1 over A10 into I is equal to I plus 1 over S10 into I. In SF method, 1,000 I is the interest payment to the lender annually, and 1,000 divided by S10 into I is the SF deposit. So basically, in sink and fund, a fund is accumulated over time with the intention of being sufficient to pay off the original loan balance at the end of the life of the loan. And this is the proof of the relation between amortization method and the SF method. So basically, the annual payment using amortization method and the SF method should be the same if we use the same interest here. Here 1 over A10 into I is I over 1 minus V to the 10, because A10 into I is 1 minus V to the 10th over I. So the reciprocal is I over 1 minus V to the 10. And the right hand side, I plus 1 over S10 into I is I plus I over 1 plus I to the 10 minus 1, because S10 into I is 1 plus I to the 10 minus 1 over I. So take the reciprocal. We got I over 1 plus I to the 10 minus 1. Now we factor I out. So we factor I out and we combine the two terms. We got 1 plus I to the 10 minus 1 plus 1 over 1 plus I to the 10 minus 1, and simplify to be 1 over 1 minus V to the 10. So under the same I, we have the annual payment in amortization method should be equal to the annual payment under the SF method. However, in practice, we usually see the interest for the interest paid to the lender I here is different from the interest accumulated on the SF deposits. So if we have I and J, the annual payment under the SF method should not be equal to the amortization method annual payment. General approach to the SF method. The general approach to the SF problem is to answer two basic questions. The first question is, what is the interest paid to the lender, and what is the SF deposit is the second question. The sum of 1 and 2 is the total periodic payment made by the borrower to repay the loan. The simplest SF problems give you the amount of the loan and the two rates. Here we have two rates because one rate is to compute the interest paid to the lender, and one rate is to compute the SF deposit. So you can directly answer question 1 and 2 and add the result. So under a sink and fund approach, instead of paying off a loan with a series of single payments, with each payment having both an interest and principal components, The sinking fund approach involves separating the interest and principal payments. Example: a borrower repays a loan by making annual interest payments to the lender at 7% and by making SF deposits at 6% for 15 years. The borrower pays a total of $15,850 annually. What is the amount of the loan? Here let L be the amount of the loan. The first question is, what is the interest payment to the lender? So the interest payment to the lender here, we use the first rate. It is 0.007 L. For the second question, the annual SF deposits is L over S15 into 6%. So the annual payment under the SF methods is 0.007 L plus L over S15 into 6%. And solve this equation for L. We got L is $140,312. That means the amount of the loan is $140,312. Outstanding balance, interest, and principal paid under the SF method. Consider a loan of $1,000 repaid in 10 years at 6%. Take the third year. Under amortization method I3, the interest during the third year is 50.62 and the principal paid in the third year is 85.25. Under the SF method, to compute the interest paid in the third year, so here the interest paid here is not the interest paid to the lender, but the interest we actually pay. So the interest in the third year, we determine the interest earned on the SF in the third year and deduct it from the interest paid to the lender, which is a fixed number, 60%. Because when you make payment, we have the interest paid to the lender, which is a fixed number. However, we do have the SF deposits, and the SF deposit, accumulate to the future years. So that's why we actually earning some interest under the SF deposits, and we pay some interest here. So we designate the amount at the end of year T as SFT, which is L over SN times ST. Here L over SN is the annual payment at the end of each year to the SF deposits. But let's say at time 0, the annual payment is LSN. We make T annual payment until time T. So at the end of time T, they are accumulated to L over SN times ST. At the end of year 2, the amount of the SF deposits is SF2, which is equal to 1,000 over 18 into 6% times 82 into 6%, and we got 156.29. So this is the balance of the SF deposit at the end of year 2. It consists of the SF at time 1 and the SF at time 2. Interest earned on the SF2 in the third year is 0.006 times SF2, and we got 9.38 is the interest earned. We pay $60 to the lender, but we earn 9.38 interest on the sinking fund deposits. So the interest we actually paid at the third year is 50.62, which agrees with the interest paid at the third year in amortization method. And the principal paid at the third year is 1,000 divided by S10, plus 9.38. We got 85.25. So that is everything about sinking fund method. Now we do some practice. Problem number 1. Julie borrows 25,000 at an effective annual interest rate of 12%. She has the following option for repayment: annual amortization method with payments made at the end year for 10 years. And the second option is paying annual interest at the end at the end of the year and building up a sinking fund, earning an effective annual interest rate of 7%. By making level annual payments at the end of the year to pay off the loan at the end of the 10 years. Determine the absolute value of the difference between the total annual outlay under the first option and the total annual outlay under the second option. So here under the first method, by amortization method, the payment is just 25,000 divided by 18 interest 12%, and we got 424.60 is the payment, the annual payment under amortization method. Under the SF method, the payment consists of two terms, two portions. The first portion is the interest paid to the lender under 12% interest rate. So it's 25,000 times 0.12. And the second portion is the SF deposit that the borrower is building up, which is 25,000 over 18 at the rate 7%. So under SF methods, the annual payment is 4,809.44. Here, the annual payment under amortization method is different from the SF methods because under the SF methods we use different rates for the interest and for sinking fund. So the difference is 4,809.44 minus 4,424.60. The answer is 384.84. Problem number 2. Glinda repays a loan of 360,000 by making payments of 60,000 at the end of each year for 10 years as follows. She replaces the capital by the means of a sinking fund. She pays interest on the loan at an annual effective rate of 8.1/3%. The effective annual interest rate earned by the sinking fund is I. Calculate I. So here the first information is basically, instead of using amortization methods, we use sinking fund method. So under SF deposits, the 60,000 annual payment consists of two portions. The first portion is the interest paid to the lender with 8.1/3%, and the second portion is the SF deposits. The first portion is 360,000 times 8 plus 1/3 divided by 100, and the second portion is 360,000 over 18 into I. So we have 30,000 is equal to 360,000 over 18 into I, and I is 4%. Problem number 3. Smith borrows 20,000 on January 1st, 2014 at a nominal annual interest rate of 10% compounded quarterly. The interest-only payments are to be made quarterly commencing April 1st, 2014, and the principal to be repaid in full on January 1st, 2019. Smith accumulates the principal repayment by making semi-annual deposits to a sinking fund that earns a nominal annual interest rate of 8% compounded semi-annually. The first deposit is made on July 1st and the last one on January 1st. In which of the following ranges is the total of Smith interest and sinking fund payments during the 2015? So here the interest paid to the lender is using 10% compounded quarterly. So the interest, so that means each quarter the lender earn an interest of 2.5%. So in a year we have 4 quarters. And under the sinking fund methods, is compounded. The interest is compounded semi-annually, and the deposit is made semi-annually. So first, the interest earned annually of Smith is 4 times 20,000 times 0.1 divided by 4, because each quarter we earn 0.025 times 20,000. A year has 4 quarters, so during a year the interest paid to the lender is 2,000. And the sinking fund deposit at each payment is 20,000 over 18 4%, because from the first deposit it made at times July 1st and the last one on January 1st, 2019. So this SF series of payment consists of 10 payments. So the sinking fund deposit at each payment is 1,665.82. During the year 2015, the interest on the loan is 2,000. The interest paid to the lender is 2,000. And 2 SF deposits are made because a year we have 2 half years. Hence, the total amount of Smith interest and the SF payment during 2015 is 2,000 plus 2 times 1,665.82, and we got 5,331.64. Problem number 4. John borrows 10,000 for 10 years and uses a sinking fund to repay the principal. The sinking fund deposits earn an annual effective interest rate of 5%. The total required payment for both the interest and the sinking fund deposit made at the end of each year is 1,445.04. Calculate the annual effective interest rate charged on the loan. So in this problem, 1,445.04 is the annual payment, and it consists of 2 portions. The first portion is the interest paid to the lender under an unknown interest rate, which is I. And the second portion is the SF deposits using rate 5%. So 1,445.04 is equal to 10,000 I plus 795.05. So I is 0.6499, which is 6.5%. Problem number 5. Margaret borrows 17,000 and agrees to establish a sinking fund to repay the loan at the end of 8 years. Level annual deposits D to the sinking fund are made at the end of each year. The sinking fund accumulates interest at an effective annual rate of 7% for the first 3 years and 4% thereafter. Find the amount of the level SF deposits. Here the question is not asking about the annual periodic payment, but the level SF deposit payment. So let's say D is the level annual deposit to the sinking fund. Then D is deposited at the end of every year of each year. So at the end of 8 year, the 8 equal deposit should accumulate to D times S3 at 7% times 0.04 to the fifth plus S5 at 4%. Because the first 3 years, the SF is accumulated under 7% rate. but the last 5 years is 4%. So D is equal to 17,000 over S3 at 7% times 1.04 to the fifth plus S5 at 4%. And the answer is 1822.67. So that is everything for today. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoy my video and see you next time.